It's no secret that I absolutely love Avatar. No, not the Alien one by James Cameron, though that one is still awesome. I'm talking about the world of The Last Airbender. If you're caught up on your Amagi lore, you'll know that the channel name, the Amagi, actually originated from the love of Avatar, being the name of a project inspired by Avatar. While we've been eating good as Avatar fans, from books to comics and even a Netflix Live Adaptation, we've had a critical drought in animated adventures. But now, after 10 years, we're finally coming out of this, and so we're gonna talk about it, and everything we know about the new Avatar TV series. Welcome to the Amagi! Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So, the title for this series is Avatar: Seven Havens. The official logline is as follows. A world shattered by devastating cataclysm. A young earthbender discovers she's the new Avatar after Korra, but in this dangerous era, that title marks her as humanity's destroyer, not its savior. Hunted by both human and spirit enemies, she and her long-lost twin must uncover their mysterious origins and save the Seven Havens before civilization's last strongholds collapse. So the series is supposed to take place in a post-apocalyptic world in which humanity is holed up in 7 havens, or safe places across the world. With this, we can already see a huge change. The 4 nations as we know them have ceased to exist. Sure, there still might be bits and pieces sticking around from each nation, but those will be relics of the past. The series will see villains and threats from sources both human and spirit, and while we don't know too much about the series thus far, we have heard that there will be 2 seasons, and by the end of it, there will be 26 new episodes. The series will focus on 2 primary protagonists who could very well both be avatars. While nothing really has dropped confirming twin avatars or denying them, at least from what I can find, we do know that we will have 2 primary protagonists. So what does this mean? Well, it's time for some speculation. The Avatar is the Destroyer. This is an interesting way to go about it. Due to the way Janet Varney reacted when she and Dante Basco were talking about it, there may be some connections between Korra and these new avatars. We knew that they would be Earthbenders, which is the next in the cycle, but we didn't know that they'd be the next generation, or perhaps the 4th generation after Korra. By the sounds of it though, it's definitely the next generation. But here's the question, what the heck happened? Korra has always been controversial as a character. The direction in which the television series steered the world of Avatar was not very well received, and so to turn Korra into a controversial character within the mythology would allow viewers who remember Korra's original run with distaste to connect more with the world, and likely to help better understand the villains and their motivations towards the new avatars who likely will be facing persecution. But at the same time, this really opens up the possibility to seed more sympathy for Korra, especially if they show more of her vulnerability. The entirety of Korra's series did nothing but show her vulnerability. She was naturally gifted as an avatar and mastered the elements quickly, but her heart was super weak, and it seemed like with every villain she was just barely scraping by. When Zahir and the Red Lotus got a hold of her, not only did they mangle her physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. Korra became a shell, and the entirety of the next season thereafter revolved around how Kuvira was taking over and Korra wasn't there to help, as she was too busy wandering, fighting her PTSD. Despite her Mary Sue appearance, Korra had a lot of growth as a character, and she seemed to do nothing but pull a lot of L's. So why should her death be any different? I feel that when we finally understand what happened to Korra, it might even make the audience cry. I know I will, but then again, I cry over anything. So what did Korra possibly do to bring this catastrophe about? Well, there's only one thing I can really think of. That would be her opening these spirit portals to the spirit world. I highly doubt that the Avatar would just up and curse all of humanity intentionally and try to ruin the entirety of civilization. The Avatar is a stern being, and sometimes, especially shown through Roku and in particular Kyoshi, they are not above using threats of destruction to put you back into place. But you do have to remember that the whole point of the Avatar's existence is to help keep balance. They each do it differently, but the point is that they do keep the balance, and right now the world is out of balance, hence the need for a new Avatar. This signals a critical failure on Korra's part, and since I don't see Korra intentionally destroying all of humanity because she didn't seem villainous by any means, I would have to imagine that whatever she did was accidental, or something she didn't intend to happen. It sounds like something primarily spiritual in nature. After all, the spirit world does affect how the elements can work in the natural world. And don't forget that the harmonic convergence, as well as the opening of the spirit world gates, were responsible for the sudden resurgence of airbenders in the world, in which any non-bender had a chance of developing airbending powers. It sounds to me that Korra's decision to leave the portals open unintentionally invited in some of the more powerful and malevolent spirits within the spirit world. Vaatu was not the only powerful evil spirit living there. So with all that, it does sound as though Korra keeping the gates open might have been the event responsible for the end of the world. As I thought more about Seven Havens and what it's supposed to be about, I couldn't help but recall the common themes of cycle presented within Avatar. Korra has been set up to be a part of something larger, and it's very likely that Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko had this planned from the very beginning. Korra's era as the Avatar saw not only her, but all future Avatars lose connection with all the past Avatars. As of that moment, Korra became the foundation for the Avatars. A new foundation. She is now the oldest Avatar that the next generations have to gain wisdom from. This, in effect, makes her the new Wan. And this is quite interesting because during the era of Wan, the world was actually split up. The spirit wilds were everywhere and man was confined to walled cities. Confined to safe havens. So what I feel like is that this new Avatar series is not only the next cycle of Avatars, but a whole new cycle for the world system. They've been returned to the same state that they were in before Wan developed his powers, or perhaps closer to the point just after he developed his powers, when war between humans and spirits existed and the portals had to be closed. Starting fresh with a totally different world to defend, one with, like I mentioned earlier, a total lack of nations. The new Avatar, or Avatars? A rumor has been floating around that there's not going to be one, but two possible Avatars in the series. I've heard rumors about names and genders, but so far I don't know anything for certain. And looking back at the official logline, it does seem that one of the twins will be the Avatar, leaving the other in a supporting role. That in and of itself is fertile ground for drama. Imagine waking up one day and finding out that your long-lost twin is actually the next world superpower, and you've got to do everything in your power to support them. Siblings already argue quite a lot, even without the implication of world-altering power. The most common theory is that there's going to be two earthbending girls, but one rumor I heard was that it was one girl and one boy. Whichever is true, I don't know, but what is known is that there will be two primary protagonists who are twins seeking their origin. Likely they will be orphans, and they'll be estranged from one another, each one's journey potentially taking up a season, or at least I feel like that's the significance of announcing 2 seasons. That's kinda deep into the waters of speculation though, so tread with care. We've seen Avatars have twin siblings in the past, such as the case with Roku, who had a twin brother, although Roku was the only Avatar. When we get down to the nitty-gritty, all of this is just speculation, and probably what I would do if it were me writing it. But I could be wrong. All I know is that I'm super excited to see it come out. I know it'll change the world of Avatar forever. For better or worse, I can't know. But I'm feeling that this will be one of the greatest stories to come from the creators of Avatar, and I'm very excited. But what do you think? I'm looking forward to exploring more and more about these spirits and the spirit world. To me, it has to be the single most interesting thing about the Avatar series. And since the spirit world is now connected to the world of the living, it means we could very well see more of Uncle Iroh. If you remember, he still lives in the spirit world, having tea and showing up to give advice to anyone who needs it. I think Zuko learned to do this too. It's my hope that we get to see some of our favorite characters return in some capacity through the spirit world. But if all we get is a little bit more of Uncle Iroh, I'll be pleased. But what about you? What are your theories and desires for this new series? I'm eager to hear. Leave a comment below and tell us all about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos as they drop. Until next time, peace out.